Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. Before I get started on today's episode, just want to thank everybody for supporting the channel. I'm pushing to 2,000 subscribers and getting pretty close. So if you guys do enjoy the content, I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to the channel. So thank you again. So the Brooklyn Nets have begun their trade season, and they recently just sent their veteran point guard Dennis Schroeder to the Golden State Warriors. And with Schroeder no longer on the Nets, I think the writing is on the wall that he's not going to be the only player traded before the February 6th NBA trade deadline. And according to the Athletics' Law Murray, he believes that Cam Johnson could be the next domino to fall. And so for today's video, I want to talk about why I think the Miami Heat should try to acquire Cam Johnson and help bolster this Miami Heat team, which is playing okay. They're 13-11. I think they're still fifth in the East as of yesterday. I haven't checked today, but they're looking okay offensively. They're a little bit better than last year. I know it's based mostly on a 4-game win streak before the Miami Heat lost against the Pistons in overtime. They had a really good week and a half of basketball, and they, as of yesterday, were the 10th best team in terms of offensive rating and 10th in defensive rating. So they're top 10 in offense and defense, and yet they're still 13-11. And I think they need to make a move, and instead of swinging for the fences and missing every year like we have with Dame and KD and whoever else it's been, Donovan Mitchell, I think the Miami Heat need to make some sort of move like they did last year with Terry Rozier. But instead of getting a player like Terry Rozier, I think they need to get someone who fits the Miami Heat system better, and that could be Cam Johnson. So there is no sense right now for the Nets to commit to any of their starters long term. So they're a rebuilding team. They traded away all of their big three. And also, they acquired Mikal Bridges, who was a really good player from trading Kevin Durant to the Suns. And the Nets were able to get Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges and a few other players. And they've already traded Bridges away. So they're completely rebuilding. Johnson is going to be on the team till 2027. So he has, including this season, he has 3 seasons under contract. And unless the Nets view him as a core building block, there's no reason that they should keep him unless they think he is going to be part of their future build. And so Schroeder's gone. Cam Thomas, the other Cam on the team, is nursing an injury. And so because of that, Johnson is getting as many shots as he wants, Murray said, from The Athletic. So Johnson will have a decent audition right now as being kind of the number one option for the Nets for several teams who are on the trade market. And he's playing really well right now. Like, he is a good, solid, rotational player, played really well for the Suns, has been playing amazing this season, having a career year so far in the 25 games that he has played. He has been injury prone in the past. He only played 58 games last year with Brooklyn. Last season, averaged 13 points per game. That is now up to 18.6 points per game. So career high in scoring. His career best was 2 years ago with the Nets when he averaged 16.6 points per game. But this season, 18.6 points, which is great. 4.2 rebounds, 3 assists. So his playmaking is improving. His assists are up. His rebounding is slightly down from his career high. But still, he's been averaging 4 rebounds per game. So he's right at that career average. But the thing here is he's shooting the best he's ever shot from 3-point range. So on 7.5 attempts. So this is the most threes he's ever taken. And he's shooting the highest percentage. So he's shooting 43% from 3 and also 48% from 2. So he's crushing it. He's playing 32 minutes per game. He's on a pretty friendly contract. So this year he's making 22.5 mil, and he's 28 years old still, so he's still relatively young in his prime. And his contract next season drops actually to 20 million, and then in 2026 he has his last year, which is 22 million. So for the next 3 years he's making 64 million, $65 million, which is not bad for someone who is a good, 3-and-D type of player, good wing player. And I think the Miami Heat need to try to acquire him. Like, what could we do to get him? That might be difficult, obviously, because we don't necessarily have what the Nets would want, perhaps, unless we're willing to trade a young asset. And because otherwise, Terry Rozier is someone that the Heat fans want off this team. He has 2 years left, so he is scheduled to make 26 million next year. He's making 25 this year, so that's like 51 over the next 2 years. And so if they do decide to take Terry Rozier straight up, which they could in theory for Cam, because they have cap space too, they can take on the extra 2 million that he's making this year, and the extra 4 million that he's going to make the next year. They can do that, and it's a shorter contract versus Cam's, which is 3 years. But I don't know why they would add Terry Rozier on this team. But I mean, I don't know why they added Schroeder, but Schroeder had a way friendlier contract. I think he was only making 13 million compared to Terry's 24 million, and they're very comparable players in my opinion, especially lately. Right now with Terry Rozier struggling in his role and struggling this season with the Miami Heat. So not sure if they would take that. If they could take that, that's awesome. Take that. That'll be huge. But otherwise, I think you would have to throw in. They would ask for a Jaime Jaquez. Like, they're a rebuilding team, like, and we wouldn't make the money work because he only makes like 8 million. So we would have to add in another player. But I'm sure they would ask for that, or even a Jovic. Which, I mean, honestly, he's not even in the rotation, and him and Jaime are not really having great years. So I wouldn't be 1,000% opposed to it. But ideally, if we were going to trade a Jaime Jaquez specifically, more so than Jovic, I would rather get a better piece than Cam. But I don't know. I'm possibly open to it if we still believe the Jimmy Butler window is open and this is the actual final season. When Jimmy Butler is still showing that he's capable in the regular season of getting games where he has a triple double, like 35 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists, like he did against the Pistons. If he could just do that in the playoffs, rest a little bit in the regular season, then we could still avoid the play-in by having better, solid players around us that fit the system better and can help us potentially make a run. Because you never know, anything can happen. Like, this Heat team doesn't look like a contender right now, but injuries happen. Like every single year, significant injuries happen in the playoffs. Giannis missed the playoffs. Embiid's going to miss the playoffs, like we always know he does. Someone in the West can get hurt. You never know. Teams can get hot as well. Teams make trades. They get buyout candidates that help. You never know what can happen. But I don't know. I think the Miami Heat should make some sort of move like this. And if we can't get it through Terry, then maybe Duncan Robinson. He's making 19 million this season. Then he has a final year next year, 19 million. He has an early termination option, and also it's not a full guaranteed contract. So it's only 10 million. So they can get Duncan, and then they can get even more cap space if they don't keep Duncan Robinson. If they only give him the 9 million, then they save another 10 million right there. And they're going to have they have 60 million in cap space. This could open up even more cap space where they can have 70, 80 million if they get Duncan Robinson. So that's possible. Would the Nets be willing to do it? Who knows? It depends on what they want. If they want a young player, if they want cap space, we don't have picks, so we're not going to trade for picks to get Cam Johnson. Anyway, but yeah, I think Cam Johnson could be a good fit on this Miami Heat roster, coming off the bench, taking over Jaime Jaquez's role, who's been ineffective so far this year. I think that would be fun, and I think it would be a really good move. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think the Miami Heat should trade for Cam Johnson? What do you think about that?